Yes, it's Tales from the Jails, John G. Sutton. Do please like and subscribe and leave me some comments. Notice I do answer the comments. First Tuesday in March at 7 p.m. here, we're going to do a live broadcast by request. People have asked for that, so I am going to do it then on the first Tuesday in March here. Yeah, I'm going to talk today about the strange antics of some very odd officers that I encountered during my time working in HM prisons. Let's start with Strangeways. A certain senior hospital officer who is referred to in my book, the third book actually, as Bobby Whiz. Yeah, the wizard, Bobby Whiz, yeah. Because he had a very great opinion of himself and all this wonderful thing he was going to do. And one day I came onto duty as a hospital officer. It would be about 1982, I think. And went to relieve him because he was the officer in charge of the hospital unit overnight, and I was first on duty at about 5 to 7 a.m. in the morning. And I said, how's it been, Bobby? He said, it's been terribly busy tonight. He said, we've had a big problem. We ran out of strip cells. All right, ran out of strip cells. So what did you do? He said, well, I better tell you. He said, in this strip cell here, I had to double them up. Oh, really? Seriously? So I said, well, let's have a look. So I opened this cell, strip cell, padded cell. Inside this padded cell, believe it or not, were two completely naked men, yeah, flat out on the floor. All they had was a heavy-duty blanket that prevented them from ripping it, and two plastic piss pots that were brimming over with urine. There was faces splattered about the floor. And these two individuals, stark naked on the floor, he had medicated them on the instructions of the senior medical officer, or the duty medical officer, that is. And he'd medicated them with Largactil, injected them, and they were flat out. Neither of them, they didn't know each other, but they got to know each other a great deal better, I tell you. But imagine being so stupid as to put two naked men in a padded cell together. That is a clear indication that the guy is not thinking properly. Tell you a little story about him. He eventually assaulted me. He did, yeah. And of course that's how I terminated my position in the prison service, because when he grabbed hold of me, I punched him right in the snotter and knocked him Sparko down to the bottom of the stairs, because we were going up the stairs when he did it. And that's how I ended my career in the prison service, because they suspended me and from duty. And they said, the chief officer said, I'm suspending you from duty. You've assaulted this officer, senior officer. I said, well, he did attack me, and what else am I going to do, So anyway, one thing led to another. And he said, well, you're suspended from duty. He said, go and report to the number one chief officer. So I didn't exactly do that. I went and got all my gear, got on my push bike, threw my keys in, and I never went back. The Home Office referred me for treatment to a psychiatrist, said I was insane. Me? I've been going about my duty. I ain't locked two naked blokes up in a padded cell. Anyway, the guy who did it, who attacked me, he went on to be promoted to a governor grade, and he became the senior nursing officer for the northwest of England. Seriously. And whilst he was in that position, it was in all the papers, by the way, Bobby Whiz decided that this pregnant woman, who was in the final throes of her pregnancy, was a prisoner, but she had a prison staff guard with her, and he ordered that she be handcuffed. Seriously. And she was in the maternity ward, handcuffed, and gave birth in handcuffs. It was in all the papers, yeah. He left the service shortly after that. I mean, but they knew all about this guy was a loony. But what did they do? Because let me tell you this, the Home Office likes nothing better than maniacs. I was working with the recruitment team, and I was doing all the medicals for the new recruits. And I spoke to the chief officer who was in charge of the interviews, and at lunchtime I was just having a coffee and reading the paper, and I said to him, as a matter of interest, I said, there's some very strange characters working in the prisons as officers. I said, obviously you're part of interviewing. Well, what's the main thing that you're looking for? What are you really looking for when you recruit prison officers? And without missing a beat, he said, we are attempting to recruit the biggest psychopaths in Britain. I said to him, well, you seem to me to be succeeding. Seriously. What a world. Well, that was just one instance, yeah. Numerous instances. I mean, there was one guy there, you can see him on that documentary. He had a big moustache, but it stuck out like that, not like mine dangling down. And he'd be about 50 at the time, and he had a motorbike. And whatever possessed him to do this, who knows? But he would take his motorbike out at lunchtime wearing a high visibility jacket, goggles, and a hard hat, like a crash hat. And he was driving his bike up and down Bury New Road, which is the road that you drive along, the main road from Manchester to Prestwich and Whitefield. Yeah, that's the main road. And he was driving up and down there, stopping traffic, pulling them over and cautioning them about speeding. Seriously, in his lunch hour. Yeah, that's what he did. Anyway, he eventually got pulled by the police and they asked him, what do you think you're doing? He said, oh, well, I thought they were speeding, so I was just warning them. He said, on whose authority are you warning them? And he said, well, I'm a prison officer at Strangeways, and yeah, how he managed to get away with not being prosecuted for impersonating a police officer, I don't know. Details in that in my third book, by the way. Also, there was another lunatic there. I've written about him. He's also in my book. Called him Fat Fred. Yeah, he was in Manchester, so I'm told. This is an allegation that I heard, yeah. He was in Manchester at the Millionaires Club, which was run by the guy who had them strip clubs in London, Stringfellow, yeah. The Millionaires Club in Manchester. And he was at the bar drinking, and somebody happened to just say to him, hi, what you doing? He said, I'm just having an evening out, quietly having a drink, in Manchester. He said, oh, what do you do for a living? He said, oh, well, I'm with the CID. He said, are you really? He said, that's good. He said, can I see your warrant card? He said, why do you want to see that? He said, well, here's my warrant card. He said, because I am with the CID and I don't know you, so I'd like to see your warrant card. Yeah, going into Manchester impersonating a police officer. Seriously. I mean, these people are deranged. Deranged. You wouldn't do that, would you? I believe he had to go to the police station the following day to explain himself. But he was a member of the Freemasons, so he didn't get charged. He should have been. But he didn't. That's how it works, you see. Yeah, that's what I say about these corrupt individuals. There was one guy there, seriously, I mean, it's hard to believe this. At lunchtime, I most often went running, But occasionally, maybe once or twice a month, I'd go into the gymnasium. Because they had a gymnasium there for the staff as well, It was for the inmates as well. Went into the gymnasium, and everybody's doing all the weightlifting and doing that. I used to do that weights, not all that often because it put muscle on. I didn't need all that because I was running, you see. running marathons. And for those of you who are interested, 3 hours 6 minutes was my best time. I would have beaten 2.5 hours, but I was taken ill in the last 4 or 5 miles. I went through 20 miles in under 2 hours, about 1 hour 59. Through 20 miles, and then I got stomach cramps. Terrible. Anyway, so I was on for 2.5 hours, but eventually did 3 hours 6 minutes. Anyway, to going into the gymnasium at lunchtime, weightlifting and all that, and I look round and I look at the people in there. There's a bloody woman in there, and it was this prison officer and his wife, and the shower unit was at the end of the gymnasium. If you went in gymnasium, all the gear was laid out, and on the left, at the far left, was the shower unit. All the blokes, when you'd finished your training, I didn't, because I was at the hospital unit and I had a shower unit in the ward where I was the officer in charge of that. And what happened was, when it came time for this guy to finish his training with his wife, whipped all his kit off and went in to the shower unit with all the rest of the blokes and his wife. I mean, come on. Hey, you wouldn't do that, would you? Strange people worked at strange ways. Anyway, it's that time of day, folks. Yeah, you can read all about that in my book, It's a song dinger. Yes, folks. We'll sing your song now. And Larry's watching, I suppose. I've got the hairs off my hat. Do you know what he said, Larry? He put a comment in. It brought tears to my eyes. He said, I've got more hairs on my hat than I've got on my head. I wear a hat most of the time, because you've probably seen slightly receding. Slightly receding. Anyway, here's a song. It's originally by Donovan, and this is Catch the Wind. I'll give it a go, eh? Kind comments, insults, all the rest of it down below. I like it. In the chilly hours and minutes of uncertainty, I wanna be in the warmer heart of your loving mind, to feel you all around me and to take your hand along the sand. But I may as well try and catch the wind. When sundown pales the sky, I want to hide a while behind your smile, and everywhere I look, your eyes I'd find. For me to love you now would be the sweetest thing, 'twould make me sing. But I may as well try and catch the wind. When rain has hung the leaf with tears, I want you near to kill my fear, to help me leave all my blues behind. For standing in your heart is where I want to be, and I long to be. But I may as well try and catch the wind. There you go. If you enjoyed that, Monday morning on the sick parade, I've got an answer for you. Straight into Jacksy with a syringe full of Largactil. That should calm you down. Tales from the jails.